Hi, everyone. This is Helena Hart. Welcome to my live stream with Mike Goldstein today. Welcome, Mike. I'm so excited to be talking with you.
Hey, Helena. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're streaming this live on YouTube, so say hi in the chat. Let us know if you have any questions about this topic or anything else. Today, we're going to answer a question that I received from a woman in my community after the last live stream that Mike and I did together, and that is, does ignoring a man work if he's been distant or pulling away or not contacting you? This is something I get asked about all the time, so we thought we'd do a whole video just on this topic. Mike, do you hear this from women as well?
All the time. And I love your answer. So why don't you tell us, does it work?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about this together. We work together, we coach clients together, and so we're going to be sharing this content together. And the first thing I always say is it depends on what kind of man you're dealing with here. So if a man was interested in you and he was showing you with his actions that he's consistent in pursuing you and wanting to move things forward, and maybe he got a little busy or something's going on in his life. Every situation is so different and unique, so we'd love to hear from everyone today. And that maybe caused you to lean forward and want to get answers. Maybe you're freaking out a little bit or coming from a place of anxiety or insecurity. That's when leaning back is fantastic. Ignoring a man, the way this question was stated, is a little bit strong of a word. In my opinion, it feels like a tactic. So what I see a lot of women doing is they're dealing with a man who's kind of inconsistent, or he's been hot and cold. He hasn't been really pursuing her for the kind of relationship she wants. And she's trying to ignore him as a tactic to try to make him more interested or make him step up and start chasing her again. That's where you're never going to get permanent, lasting results. You can't turn a guy like that into a guy who's all of a sudden interested for something serious if you're coming from that place. So that's my quick thoughts. I have a little more to say on that, but Mike, I'd love to hear everything you have to say on this topic. I love getting a man's perspective on this.
Yeah, so I was thinking about all the times that I leaned back over the last 15 years of dating. And it came down to two things of why I leaned back and why I was ignoring the person maybe that I'd been on dates with. And the first one was I didn't really like them. And the second thing was I had a problem with them and I didn't know how to communicate it to them, or I was like avoidant of the conflict. And so both of these things made me think, like, is this a person a woman should be dating? Like, everyone in this community, do I want them to date old Mike? And my answer 100% is no, I don't want you to date old Mike, because old Mike was undateable. If I didn't have the skills to communicate the problem, that means I'm a bad dater, which ultimately is a bad boyfriend and a bad husband. And if we're being strategic, we're looking down the road to, I want a good husband, and a good husband and a good boyfriend and even a good dater. When there's problems, which there's always going to be some conflict, he needs to communicate. I can't expect any woman in this community to be a mind reader and come up with why this guy is ignoring. And if he can't step up and share, what kind of partner is that going to be?
So true. I mean, I can't even imagine you ignoring or going distant or pulling away from your partner now. Or can you imagine my husband doing that? Like, it's just not even in my reality. So a lot of times we have this short-term mindset. We want to just get this guy reattracted or reinterested. We want to make him chase us again. And so we're going to ignore him as a tactic to try to like respark that interest. And that might work with an immature guy or an emotionally unavailable or avoidant man. That might get him chasing you again just to see if he still has you in his back pocket, right? He wants to see if he, can just snap his fingers and you'll come running. And so if he's in it for the conquest, ignoring him might sort of reattract him for a little bit, but eventually the dynamic just slips right back into what was going on before. So I think the question to ask yourself is, was this guy truly interested? Was he pursuing you consistently or not? So was it your own anxiety or insecurity or maybe patterns of masculine energy that showed up and pushed him away? Or is he simply busy with something else? Or was he not all that interested from the beginning? Men are pretty straightforward. They'll kind of show you with their actions what they're available for right up front. Do you agree with that, Mike?
Yes, I think men are going to be pretty forthright with what they want. But I think what the scary part is sometimes either the man or the woman wants to play games.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think if either party's living in the present tense and they are enjoying this game or the emotions of the back and forth and the excitement and the roller coaster of this dating, it's so unhealthy. And it's so just in the present tense instead of, I want daters to be in the future. The future is, I want a husband. I want a loving partner. I want this to be easy. I don't want to be on this roller coaster ride anymore. What I need now is a communicative person so that we can have a good relationship down the road.
It's so true. We talked a little bit more about this on our last podcast episode that's over on my podcast on Spotify and Apple. If anyone wants to go check that out, you talked a little bit about your personal journey. Are we just trying to get this present need met of making this guy interested, making this person interested so you feel validated or loved or safe? Or are you kind of zooming out and getting a bigger view? I think it's so important. Like, is this person showing you that they have the attributes and the qualities and the interest level to take things into the committed relationship you want? And if he's pulling away or acting distant at the beginning and not communicating why with you, I don't think he's partnership material. Personally, I don't think he's really the kind of guy you want, but it can be easy to just kind of zoom in and focus on what's going on in this moment, especially if you're feeling anxious. So we totally understand what that feels like. Would you advise a woman to say something? What should she do if she's in this situation where a guy's been acting distant, or maybe he was coming on strong for a little while, but then he kind of started to pull away or back off when she started developing feelings or when things started to get more serious?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, I felt confused when I haven't heard from you all week. Like, what's happening? And just get curious.
Absolutely. You don't want to engage in the game and ignore him to try to reinterest him or something like that. If you're engaging in the game, you might keep the game going, but eventually it's just going to end up in heartbreak, right? And so we don't want you just getting more invested in spending more and more time. I love what you said there, just being super straightforward, super clear. I mean, you can't go wrong by leaning back, focusing on yourself and your own life until you're feeling a little more secure. And then when he comes back towards you, or when you truly are not attached to the outcome, absolutely, you can say, if I felt a little strange or felt a little confusing not hearing from you, is there something I should know? Is there something going on here? And just inviting really straightforward talk like that. If a woman were to say something like that to you, and let's say you were interested versus if you were not interested, how would your response be different?
Yeah, I think a lot of men, we're afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid to share emotions. So when a woman comes with a state of curiosity, like, hey, I felt confused, instead of coming at me maybe a little aggressively, like, I didn't hear from you for 3 days, like, what the F? That makes me like shell up and not want to share anything. But if she's like, hey, I'm curious, what's been going on? This happened literally last night. I'm like, well, my wisdom teeth are out. I can't work out. I feel like I'm letting down my soccer team. And that's why I'm not talking to you right now. And because she came from a supportive, kind of curious state, I'm like, let me share. Versus
Absolutely.
Combative, like, you've been a crappy boyfriend.
Yeah. So coming from a place of curiosity, we talk a lot about that in some of our other videos and podcast episodes, and just being totally authentic. And you might be rejected. Absolutely. If you're not in a committed relationship, a guy might say, well, I'm just not ready for something serious, or I've started dating someone else. I went back to my ex, or this just isn't a good time for me. You want to really be able to hear that. And if you're trying to make something happen, your perception is going to get really clouded. Right. And so another question I get all the time is, how long should I lean back? How long should I do this? And it's always an error in your thought process, in my opinion, at least, when you're coming from this place of how long should I lean back? You're still focused on him. Do you hear that question as well? It's like, what do you just lean back for a week? Then what? Then you lean forward. It's still kind of a strategic, tactical approach that isn't really authentic. So I think your mentality should just be, I'm moving forward with my life. I'm going to focus on myself and my own life. I'm trusting that if a man's truly interested, he's going to want to come towards me and pursue me for that committed relationship. If he's not, he's going to fade away. Or if I feel like reaching out and saying something, like Mike stated so beautifully, great. If my intuition's telling me to reach out and do that, then go ahead. But it's not this tactical thing. I'm going to lean back. People think that that's feminine energy, just actually ignoring a guy, when it's really not, if you're coming from a place of trying to make something happen. Do you agree with that, Mike? I'd love to hear your answer to that question. How long do you do this?
I think your answer is perfect. It actually got me curious. Like, when women are in that emotion and wanting his attention, how do they bring themselves back to themselves? What do you suggest on how they do that?
Absolutely. So you want to take that energy and focus that you've been using to try and figure this man out, analyze him, use it for yourself in your own life, right? There's a whole bunch of things in front of you that you've probably been ignoring because you've been focusing that attention on a man. Women who get into situations like this have a lot of energy around their love life, and the other areas of their life can sometimes get a little depleted. I've certainly been there myself in my past, so there's no judgment here. But if this man is not right in front of you, or if he's not showing up on your phone and texting or calling you and asking you out, what is right in front of you? There's a whole bunch of other things right in front of you that you can get focused on. You can call up a friend, go for a walk, listen to a podcast, read a book, do an art project, work on something in work or your business. There's so many things you can do. And if anyone's had that experience of the minute you truly authentically take your focus off of a man, that's when he calls, that's when you get a text from him. It feels like magic, but it's really not. It's just that pathway between the two of you is free of all this resistance. So if it's authentic and you are doing this because it simply doesn't feel good to chase a man who's not putting energy into this potential relationship here, or he's not pursuing you, it doesn't feel good to do that. That's the reason to lean back. That's the reason to take your focus off of him and put it on yourself, not as a tactic. So you could do any of those things I listed, or I'd love to hear from everyone. Let us know in the comments or in the live chat. What do you think about that, Mike?
I think that was perfect. Dating's so important. We've created a career out of this, and then we put all our energy there. But really, dating should be the icing on our already somewhat fulfilling life. I don't expect everyone to have an amazing life. I just read that we're happy about 40% of the time. But I want you to have things going on. So then when maybe the guy thing's not going great, you go focus on the other things that are going well, the soccer, the chess club, the baking, whatever you do, the walking. And then you can come back and focus on the things that are going well when they are.
Absolutely. I love getting a man's perspective on this. Any other words of wisdom you have for women who are in this situation, or they're coming from a place where they're wondering if ignoring a man works, if he's been acting a little distant or not contacting her?
Yeah, I would say before you even enter dating, get into a place where you mostly have a cool single life. Like, I have my friends, I have my job, I have things mostly together. So then when a guy isn't treating you that well, instead of like, I'm going to put up with this because I'm lonely and this is the best thing in my life right now, it's like, you know what? My life was pretty good as a single person, and this isn't exactly what I signed up for. I'm going to go back to that single life until a guy shows up that is delivering that dream relationship that I can be so proud of and show off and feel amazing about. So just get there and then date, and then you won't have to put up with this nonsense of guys that don't treat you the way you deserve.
Absolutely. I completely agree. It sounds like everyone is agreeing with this as well in the chat. And I just actually see one comment or question. I said something more than once, but he lied to me instead of telling me what the problem was. He said, I was overthinking. I'm done. She said she was coming from a place of curiosity. It seems like if he lied to you, that's like a major red flag, I think. I wouldn't want to continue something like that, even without knowing more details about your situation. I mean, you can kind of analyze a guy to death and just think about what to say, what's going on with him. But having just a real straightforward conversation coming from a place of openness and curiosity, like Mike said, that will really help you out a lot and help you stop wasting time on guys. It's just like when these months and years sometimes go by, you can get so invested, and that causes you to tolerate things you would never tolerate with a brand new person. Right, Mike?
Absolutely. A lot of these ladies that are watching this, you've done the work. And just because he's never done the work doesn't mean you have to make an exception for him and be like, men don't do work. No, a man does exist that has done the work, that can show up and be honest. You just have to wait for that man and not put up with these men that have done zero work on themselves and can't show up in honesty and integrity. That's not for you. You don't deserve that.
I completely agree. So that was the last comment I see, actually. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Mike, anything you want to say about this topic? Did we miss anything here? I just love everything you shared. And then also want to talk about how people can work with us, either both of us or one of us, if they're interested in private coaching for their unique situation.
I have nothing left to say on this topic, I don't think, right
Okay,
now.
perfect. I just want to make sure we got to everything. Love everything you shared. I included a link. It's the first link in the description. I'm going to add it to the comments after the replay post if they're interested in booking a free call, if they want to get private coaching from one or both of us. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, we've known each other probably about 7, 8 years, started working together, and we've literally had a 100% success rate when people hire to work with both of us. And that's me on the strategy side, getting folks into partnership, and Helena working on mindset and loving themselves. And 100% success rate. If you have been dating or have been divorced and haven't tried dating again, or widowed and haven't gotten back out there, and you want me to hold your hand and walk you through the process of going on dates and how this happens in this weird world of online dating, where you're working with literally the best in the world that's been partnered with eHarmony, OkCupid, and Match for a decade, been on the Today Show 10 years ago talking about online dating, and has been doing it since, and has got it dialed in so you don't have to guess. And more importantly, I'm going to put the white gloves on and actually do it with you and for you. So we will go on a screen together on Zoom. I will log into your Match account and do everything with you so you cannot fail. And then on the other side, you've got Helena holding your hand and making you feel beautiful and making you feel like you're worthy and making you feel so amazing that when you show up on the date, you're like smiling ear to ear. And every guy's like, wow, I get to go on this date, because we will build you up like that. Then sign up for a call. We are so excited to get you to the start line and then get you to the finish line. That's just like what we love doing. We love helping people. We especially love the folks that have been divorced or widowed, that restart, that reset button. We love helping you because it's so different now. It's so overwhelming. Like, oh my God, a lot of dates. What is this? This is what we do every day. We'd love to help.
Absolutely. So if you are interested in working with one or both of us, that is the first link in the description or show notes. We'd love to talk with you and help you out with your unique situation. So Mike, thank you so much again. This was phenomenal advice. I love everything you shared, and I hope we can do this again soon.
Thanks for having me. You're so awesome.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Leave us a comment below and let us know your experiences and thoughts on this. We love you all. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk with you again soon.